Hi everybody. Tonight I'm going to be doing chapter 2 in the book that we started last night. Max is outside right now, and so he's going to come in the dog door and it's going to make noise. So when he comes in, I'll edit the video and just mute the volume, but you'll see him walk across behind me. It's getting late and I've been waiting. First I waited for the furnace to shut off. So luckily for you, of course it's loud for me, but I muted it out for you. Alright, so I hope you're excited to continue in the book. I'm going to try to get these videos knocked out pretty quick. My hope is to make them in less than 5 episodes. So this is chapter 2 called Your Inner Roommate. And also you may hear the wind tonight. It's very windy here. And because I have the dog door, sometimes the wind comes in there. And anyway. Okay, let's see here. I wanted to give a shout out to Wayne too. I'm going to be making a video for Wayne. He's one of my longtime subscribers, and he's my first member. And so that's amazing that he did that for me. Okay, your inner roommate. Your inner growth is completely... Okay, before I start, let me see if Max is going to lay down. Oh, he's laying down, but... Okay, your inner growth is completely dependent upon the realization that the only way to find peace and contentment is to stop thinking about yourself. You're ready to grow when you finally realize that the I, who is always talking inside, will never be content. It always has a problem with something. Honestly, when was the last time you really had nothing bothering you? Before you had your current problem, there was a different problem. And if you're wise, you will realize that after inside. When you tell a friend, every time I talk to Tom, it gets me so upset. How do you know it gets you upset? You know that it gets you upset because you're in there and you see what's going on in there. There's a separation between you and the anger or the jealousy. You are the one who's in there noticing these things. Once you take the seat of consciousness, you can get rid of these personal disturbances. You start by watching. Just be aware that you are aware of what is going on in there. It's easy. What you'll notice is that you're watching a human being's personality with all its strengths and weaknesses. It's as though somebody's in there with you. You might actually say you have a roommate. If you would like to meet your roommate, just try to sit inside yourself for a while in complete solitude and silence. You have the right. It's your inner domain. But instead of finding silence, you're going to listen to incessant chatter. Why am I doing this? I have more important things to do. This is a waste of time. There's nobody in here but me. What's this all about? Right on cue, there's your roommate. You may have a clear intention to be quiet inside, but your roommate won't cooperate. And it's not just when you try to be quiet. It has something to say about everything you look at. I like it. I don't like it. This is good. That's bad. It just talks and talks. You don't generally notice because you don't step back from it. You're so close that you don't realize that you're actually hypnotized into listening to it. Basically, Basically, you're not alone in there. There are two distinct aspects of your inner being. The first is you, the awareness, the witness, the center of your willful intentions. And the other is that which you watch. The problem is the part that you watch never shuts up. If you could get rid of that part even for a moment, the peace and serenity would be the nicest vacation you've ever had. Imagine what it would be like if you didn't have to bring this thing with you everywhere you go. Real spiritual growth is about getting out of this predicament. But first you have to realize that you've been locked in there with a maniac. In any situation or circumstance, your roommate can suddenly decide, I don't want to be here. I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to this person. You would immediately feel tense and uncomfortable. Your roommate can run anything you're doing without a moment's notice. They could run your wedding day or even your wedding night. That part of you can run anything and everything, and it generally does. You buy a brand new car and it's beautiful, but every time you drive it, your inner roommate finds something wrong with it. The mental voice keeps pointing out every little squeak, every little vibration until eventually you don't even like the car anymore. Once you see what this can do to your life, you're ready for spiritual growth. You're ready for real transformation when you finally say, look at this thing, it's running my life. I'm trying to live a peaceful, meaningful existence, but I feel like I'm sitting on top of a volcano. At any moment, this thing can decide to freak, close down, and fight with what's happening. One day, it likes someone, and the next day it decides to pick on everything they do. My life is a mess just because this thing that lives in here with me has to make a melodrama out of everything. Once you've seen this and learn to no longer identify with your roommate, you're ready to free yourself. If you haven't reached this awareness yet, just start to watch. Spend a day watching every single thing your roommate does. Start in the morning and see if you can notice what it's saying in every situation. Every time you meet somebody, every time the going on. You'll be shocked by what you see. It just jumps from one subject to the next. The incessant chatter seems so neurotic that you won't believe that it's always that way. But it is. You have to watch this if you want to be free of it. You don't have to do anything about it, but you have to get wise to the predicament you're in. You have to realize that somehow you've ended up with a mess for an inner roommate. If you want it to be peaceful in there, you're going to have to fix this situation. The way to catch on to what your inner roommate is really like is to personify it externally. Make believe that your roommate, the psyche, has a body of its own. You do this by taking the entire personality that you hear talking to you inside and imagine it as a person talking to you on the outside. Just imagine that another person is now saying everything that your inner voice would say. Now spend a day with that person. You've just sat down to watch your favorite TV show. The problem is you have this person with you. Now you get to hear the same incessant monologue that used to be inside, except that it's sitting next to you on the couch, talking to itself. Did you turn off the light downstairs? You better go check. Not now. I'll do it later. I want to finish watching the show. No, do it now. That's why the electric bill is so high. You sit in silent awe watching all of this. Then a few seconds later, your couch mate is engaged in another dispute. Hey, I want to get something to eat. I'm craving some pizza. No, you can't have pizza now. It's too far to drive. But I'm hungry. When will I get to eat? To your amazement, these neurotic bursts of conflicting dialogue just keep going on and on. And as if that's not enough, instead of simply watching TV, this person starts verbally reacting to whatever comes on the screen. At one point, after a redhead appears on the show, your couchmate starts mumbling about an ex-spouse and a painful divorce. Then the yelling starts just as though the ex-spouse were in the room with you. Then it stops just as suddenly as it started. At this point, you find yourself hugging the far corner of the couch in a desperate attempt to get as far away from this disturbed person as you possibly can. Will you dare to do this experiment? Don't try to make the person stop talking. Just try to get to know what you live with inside by externalizing the voice. Give it a body and put it out there in the world. Just like everybody else, let it be a person who says on the outside exactly what the voice of your mind says inside. Now take that person, your best friend. After all, how many friends do you spend all of your time with and pay absolute attention to every word they say? How would you feel if someone outside really started talking to you the way your inner voice does? How would you relate to a person who opened their mouth to say everything your mental voice says? After a very short period of time, you would tell them to leave and never come back. But when your inner friend continuously speaks up, you don't ever tell it to leave. No matter how much trouble it causes, you listen. There's almost nothing that voice can say that you don't pay full attention to. It pulls you right out of whatever you're doing, no matter how enjoyable, and suddenly you pay attention to whatever it has to say. Imagine that you're in a serious relationship and are about to get married. You're driving to the wedding and it says, maybe this is not the right person. I'm really getting nervous about this. What should I do? If someone outside of you said that, you'd ignore them. But you feel you owe the voice an answer. You have to convince your nervous mind that this is the right person, or it won't let you walk down the aisle. That's how much respect you have for this neurotic thing inside of you. You know that if you don't listen to it, it will bother you every day of your life. I told you not to get married. I said I wasn't sure. The bottom line is undeniable. If somehow that voice managed to manifest in a body outside of you, and you had to take it with you everywhere you went, you wouldn't last a day. If somebody were to ask you what your new friend is like, you'd say, this is one seriously disturbed person. Just look up neurosis in the dictionary and you'll get advice again after seeing how wrong they were? Well, are you going to fire your inner roommate? After all, its advice and analysis of the situation were totally wrong. No, you never hold it accountable for the trouble it causes. In fact, the next time it gives advice, you're all ears. Is this rational? How many times has that voice been wrong about what was going on or what will be going on? Maybe it's worth noticing whom you're going to go, whom you're going to for advice. When you've sincerely tried these practices of self-observation and awareness, you'll see that you're in trouble. You'll realize that you've only had one problem your entire life, and you're looking at it. It's pretty much the cause of every problem you've ever had. Now the question becomes, how do you get rid of this inner troublemaker? The first thing you realize is that there's no hope of getting rid of it until you really want to. Until you've watched your roommate long enough to truly understand the predicament you're in, you really have no basis for practices that help you deal with the mind. Once you've made the decision to free yourself from the mental melodrama, you are ready for teachings and techniques. You will now have a real use for them. You will be relieved to know that you are not the first person to have this problem. There are those who have gone before you, who found themselves in the same situation. Many of them looked for guidance from those who had mastered this field of knowledge. They were given teachings and techniques such as yoga, which were created to help in this process. Yoga is not really about getting your body healthy, although it does that too. Yoga is about the knowledge that will help you out of your predicament. The knowledge that you can free you. The knowledge that can free you. Once you've made this freedom the meaning of your life, there are spiritual practices that can help you. These practices are what you do with your time in order to free yourself from yourself. You will eventually catch on that you have to distance yourself from your psyche. You do this by setting the direction of your life when you're clear and not letting the wavering mind deter you. Your will is stronger than the habit of listening to that voice. There is nothing you can't do. Your will is supreme over all of this. If you want to free yourself, you must first become conscious enough to understand your predicament. Then you must commit yourself to the inner work of freedom. You do this as though your life depended on it, because it does. As it is right now, your life is not your own. It belongs to your inner roommate, the psyche. You have to take it back. Stand firm in the seat of the witness and release the hold that the habitual mind has on you. This is your life. Reclaim it. Okay, so if I go another chapter, it's going to take me beyond. What my computer will hold, because I record these videos in 4K. My computer will only process like a 30-minute video, and because I have to do all the editing, that takes additional space. So at the end of the day, I have to keep my videos like 30 minutes or less. So I'm gonna upgrade eventually and get something that I can do longer ones, because if I could do like long videos, I've had that request, but I don't have the capacity to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop, because I won't be able to finish it. But now that I realize it's going to take me one video per chapter. I think there's 12 chapters. Oh my god, yeah. So there's no way I can do this in 5 videos. There's 12 chapters. So I hope you enjoyed that, and then maybe I don't know about making 12 of these in a row. I'll have to see what the comments say.